breakfast with Ayo and myself, Valentine. This morning with Rotus. Good morning, Rotus.
Morning, Valentine.
You're
Morning.
upset.
Yeah, look, man. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Good morning, everybody. Good
So,
morning.
Lagos, we have a lot to talk about in 15 minutes. Join the conversation by sending us messages through WhatsApp on 0809 Also on Twitter at Smooth981FM. Use that hashtag BusinessExpress981. We're streaming live on YouTube. You can use the live chat option to send us your messages. Also, watch us live as the program progresses.
All right, we have Abiola of Afri Invest with us today. Abiola, good morning to you.
Good morning, Smooth. Good morning, Lagos.
Yeah, look, see, look, I don't know. Look, Lagos and beyond.
What's up? What's up? What's going on?
Valentine,
Yes.
I don't know what the infrastructure maintenance is an issue
Yes, it is.
in this country.
It is.
The easy tag
Mhm.
on the Lekki Expressway, all right? I shouldn't be saying this because this is actually to my benefit, and maybe some people who will be upset about this. But it has one. There's two things. One, it hasn't been reflecting the correct balance. It doesn't deduct. So the same balance I've had for like 3 weeks has been the same. I'm paying. I'm going through. It's still reflecting the same exact
You
balance.
too.
Oh, so you've noticed?
Oh, yeah.
You see? And he didn't say anything. You see? You see that? No. So that's the one. The
Honestly, to be honest,
Yeah.
right, I reacted as a Nigerian.
So you went to tell
I reacted
them.
as me. Let me not say that's how Nigerians are. But we went to tell who.
You didn't tell
I
anybody.
thought it was a malfunction first.
Right.
And then second thought, ooh, this is nice. So
Yeah,
let's-
because you're not deducting the balance. No, but see,
But I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was deducting or not. Because
Yeah.
yesterday when I was passing, intermittently, like once in a while, occasionally, actually just does not
reflect
read.
right.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't even read your tag. Right.
and it shows red. It stays on red. So even if you know in your mind that you still have the balance, right,
Mhm.
it still does not read it, and then you now have to complain to the guys in the cubicle,
Mm-hmm.
and they do something where they step out of cubicle, go in front of the car, check the plate number, and then
now update it or call somebody.
on the radio, yes, just to manually lift that. So it's a bit of a malfunction going
See,
on
that's
for the
one.
past 2 weeks.
Two, the exact fare lane. I was stuck there for almost 20 minutes this morning because the guy just said the system broke down. It just broke down. And this is the exact fare lane.
And they kept you stranded.
Kept me stranded there. I couldn't move. I changed my sticker yesterday.
Mm.
The lady said it's not going to update because they've been having
Within
technical.
24
Yeah,
hours.
we're supposed to do 24 hours. See, I was just telling you before we came on here.
Yeah.
There's a new terminal they just opened in Abuja. Yeah, that new airport terminal.
Yes.
I guarantee you, in 6 months' time, that terminal, all the fancy lights and the hand dryers in the bathrooms, it's all going to be degraded. It's going to go down in about 6 months. We cannot. My issue is this.
Yeah.
No, we can't maintain infrastructure in this country. We can't. And what is the point of spending all this money on infrastructure if if it is not going to be maintained?
So we can optimism.
Oh. All right. So
I understand
We
how
can
you
if we
feel,
put
but
the right
let's
processes
put an
in
if
place.
to it.
If we put the right processes in place, if we put the right people in place, people who are selfless enough to think about equipment as their own and not just the government's equipment to say, well, let's just leave it to rot.
But our roads are not. Are they not an example? If we can't even maintain our roads, then how do we expect to maintain tolls, airports, and so on and so forth? I mean, think about. No, today was bad.
I
though.
want to say the same thing, right? If you look at the extent of the road, the Lekki Express Road,
Yeah.
and there are still some portions where you see potholes.
Yes.
There are some part of the road that you see that the traffic lights are not working.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there are issues. So your concerns are valid.
Even
They are valid.
the traffic lights are 1004, yeah, on Zumba right here.
Mm.
It's a risk to my life, right? Because the lights are not working and incoming traffic can't stop, so I have to now just jump across. I mean, and
But let's talk
anyway.
about ourselves.
Yes,
Let's
well-
talk about our road users.
Yeah, right.
Have you ever passed that route at 5 a.m.? Even 5:30, you see bus drivers flying by the red,
through,
the
right?
red spots.
And then the police that
The lights are clearly
Oh,
red, but you see
God.
bus drivers going through the extreme. So if you stopped by the red, the red light, right, traffic
Yeah.
light,
Yeah.
you find bus drivers taking the extreme ends.
which
Yeah,
means you
just
can
look-
run into them by accident if you don't.
Of course, definitely at top speed.
Anyway, stock market, yeah. The stock market was down yesterday. I've realized it's been 4 days or 5 days now. We're now in negative territory. It's only the 13th of March. 1.02% down yesterday, 31,000 points. For the month, we're down by 1.2%. For the year, down by 0.37. Looks like bearish sentiment has taken over the markets.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's look. I'm just so Bloomberg has a story saying that I think we've had the almost conclusions now, gubernatorial and state houses of assembly elections. Bloomberg is saying that President Buhari has a near majority in the house of in the legislature now. I think he has like
both houses.
both houses now. So they're saying that look, hopefully this means that he should be able to implement policies that can improve things like infrastructure and that we are complaining about this morning for the country. What do you think? Are you optimistic about where that's going to go? Or
So if I'm going to look at the trend in the last 4 years, the fact that there was a friction between the presidency and the legislature. So between the executive and the legislature, you might want to think that this time around, given the majority this time around, and the fact that the majority is not a slim majority, it's a wild margin in terms of the difference between number of seats held by the All Progressive Congress, the APC, versus the People's Democratic Party, the main opposition party. So, so given that stance, you might want to expect that there might be some smooth passage of some bills. But in my own opinion, I think where you might want to see more of an handshake between both the legislature and the executive will be in the passage of bills. I'm talking about the appropriation bill. That's the budget. You might want to see a faster passage of the budget. But again, in terms of bills that are going to come from the House, or will sometimes be determined to an extent by the leadership of the National Assembly, because so following their resumption, the new session is going to be in May. Following that new resumption of the new session, you might want to see that who is going to be the head of the legislature, and how open willing with the person be in talking to the president and agreeing on terms. So if it's a person that is willing to just be necessarily friendly with the executive, they might want to see faster passage of bills.
All right. Yeah, you think the president is going to reshuffle his cabinet? I don't know. We're looking at Minister of the power sector, transportation, investments, and so on. What's your feel for?
Well, it's a new election. The dynamics that led to the victory of the APC in 2015 are different from the dynamics that led to his victory in 2019. The president did not probably get support from the same set of people that he got in 2015. So you might want to see some bits of people going out, and then some new set of people coming in. Some new set of people coming in, and I would think that the president. Will want to make his selection based on loyalty. Because if you look at historical trends, more of what the people that the president surrounds himself with most of the time are people that have been loyal to the president over time. So in selecting, you might want to see selections coming from places that provided higher impetus to his victory in 2019. So you might want to see more of that in terms of where the people come from, not necessarily getting technocrat or. I just think it's more of a reward for.
Well, Biola, that doesn't sound good at all, because we look at the market now. The market isn't the sentiment out there is that it's, at least for the stock market anyway, or investors. Again, it's speculation. They don't feel that there are going to be, market-friendly policies to look forward to. So if you're saying it's loyalty, then we're in the same place now.
Yeah, so like we have maintained that AfroInvest, we've looked at the direction the president has taken over the last 4 years. And then going forward for the next 4 years, we think that we are just maintaining the base case scenario that you might want to just see a continuum of those kind of policies, those kind of decisions. The fact that ordinarily the president is slow to respond to issues. You might want to just see that same tempo from the president. So given that base case scenario, what you want to expect is appointments to be based on loyalty. Now we are not ruling out the possibility of a change. Now that is what the market wants. And again, if you look at the slow tempo or the very sentiment, for example, the equities market, it's just a reflection of market anticipation of the same pace that we've seen last year. So except you see a new kind of reform, maybe by the central bank, maybe it decides to float the currency, for example,
Huh.
right?
Yeah.
Or we'll be having a new CBN governor
Right.
from June, right?
Right,
So you
right.
can't just rule out the possibility of these things happening, right?
Okay.
So if these things happen, right, and you have a drive, the federal government introduce a sort of fiscal reforms, right? So these are the things that market likes to look out for. Market now prices those things. For example, the equities market. So you see that reaction immediately on the equities market, where investors are happy and glad to put in their money into the market. So, for example, if you look at the sentiment in the market currently, prior to elections, foreign investors were coming into the market and were taking positions,
Right.
and which was one of the things that you saw drove the market in February. But after the elections, there's still a bit of laid back by these investors, foreign investors, would actually drive the Nigerian market, and they're wondering. So we think that for those investors, they are thinking that okay, there are still some risks inherent in the market. All right, one key risk for them, from our own observation at Afro Invest, that we think that the fact that the opposition, Atiku Abubakar, is yet to concede the election, and there's still a case in court, might just be like a risk factor for some investors, thinking that okay, can we just stay back a little bit? Let's see if he's going to concede. Let's see if he might win the case at the court.
Okay.
So that's just a risk factor that we think is making some investors to stay a little bit back from. But again, if you look at the fundamentals of the market are all right. The stocks are cheap in the market. If you look at in terms of price to any ratios of the overall market, it's low compared to peers in sub-Saharan Africa and some emerging markets. So we think that if you are looking at fundamentals of the market is the right place for you to invest. But again, the risk factors is what is
pushing it down.
All right, we have messages
Thank
on
you for that.
YouTube.
Thank you, Abiola.
Adeniran says, Rotus, I feel you. Olatunde Alao on YouTube says, in Nigeria, there's no incentive for maintenance of infrastructure. The GC area is an awarding huge contract, so most government infrastructure is allowed to decay. And we want competent people, not loyal ones, he said. And then Karibo Eko Bara says, oh, wow, I thought it was only me with the LCC blessing, laugh out loud. Anyway, my husband mailed them earlier in the week to ask for our balance and raise a red flag, yet the issue still persists.
Wow.
Izuna Unyeka on Twitter said, the manpower, the fuel, queue, and chaos that the toll gates causes should also be looked at. Can't the whole process be automated? Can they get more staff to even make the manual process efficient?
Izuma,
more messages on WhatsApp. This one's from Olumide. It says, my take on infrastructure decay is a picture of our decadence in Nigeria, in national and personal values as a people. It is GIGO. What?
I think
you cannot give what you
you cannot give what you don't have,
which is sad. Now, Rainmaker says, Rotus, welcome to Nigeria. Kechi will give you water because we'll manage it if we don't have lights. Maintenance is the bane of our infrastructural development. We'll be all right, yeah. Yinka says, for goodness sake, leave the matter like that now. Some of us are enjoying it. I'm deducting my money by the fast lane. At least I pay a lot in tax and I get nothing in return. So this is my tax rebates. Even the Koyi Bridge one. There's a theory that if you can't get there by 6 p.m., you'll drive through free. Wow. Okay. So in the next level, it's me and the government. I'll do my part by paying my tax. But anywhere they lose God, well, I would exploit, he said. And then Benga says, well, let's steal this. And he says, I'm wondering if those corporate... Yeah. Wondering if those companies didn't do proper registration. We'll talk about that on Freshly Pressed. Yes. Now, Henry Emmanuel says having a majority or minority in the legislature has never really been a significant determinant of a president's legislative process, especially when there's no clear legislative agenda. Abi, is there any legislative agenda from the president? Do you know the top 3 priority legislation?
Henry, good points.
And final message here from Joseph. It says, hello, Rotus and the team. Do you guys really believe that the legislature held Buhari back in the past 4 years? What of the payments he took out without legislative approval?
Chinedu, that's a heavy shaking on the table. Abiola of Afro Invest, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Valentine, thank you.
Just simmer down.
Look, thanks for all your messages. At least we see what's going. Everybody's seeing the same thing. So
I'll play some Aretha Franklin.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Good music on Smooth.
Fantastic music, actually. This title, the song is actually titled "Here We Go Again." That's coming up next.
Is that the name of the song?
Yes.
Here we go
Honestly.
again.
At 7:30, remember that you can join us for Freshly Pressed 981, where we'll break down the actually.